Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a ThrowRA account and simply says, do I 20 male dump girlfriend 19 female over crying after a night out. I met girlfriend on Tinder about 3 months ago. We clicked instantly on Tinder. I could tell by her pics that she was my type and we had a lot in common. Same shows, both like soccer, same music preference, and had fun messaging until she asked me how tall I was. She was pretty upfront about preferring dudes who were 6 foot or taller. I told her I was 5'8" and asked if it was done for me after that. She says she liked talking to me and that I was cute enough for her to look past my height. We went on a few dates in real life and clicked even better than we did online. We decided to become exclusive after a few weeks of seeing each other. A week ago, we went out to eat with her friends and their boyfriends. I'd met some of her friends before, but this was the first time I met their boyfriends too. The dinner went fine and all the guys were pretty cool. The only thing I did notice was that they were tall as fuck, and I was by far the shortest. I didn't really care, but I did notice it. Whatever. Anyway, after the dinner, me and my girlfriend walked back to her apartment, and she was quieter than usual and a bit short with me. I asked what was wrong. I thought maybe I said something dumb during the dinner, but she said she wasn't mad over anything I did. After we entered her apartment, she did open up. She said that me being so much shorter than her friends' boyfriends made her feel some sort of way. I asked her what the fuck did she mean by that, and she said she couldn't explain it. I asked her if she was embarrassed over me being short, and she said no, that it was just she's used to dating tall dudes, and started crying. I mentioned her telling me that she'd gotten over a height preference, and she said she knows and that she felt bad about still feeling this way. She just kept saying sorry and crying. So I got a little mad and said I was leaving. She asked me to stay and I said something I regret. I told her to go fuck herself and left her apartment. She's been calling and texting me since our fight. We talked on the phone once, but I haven't responded to any of her texts. She's apologized daily and said she's sorry for hurting my feelings. She claims that she hasn't ever liked a guy as much as me, but I don't know if I'm being dramatic. I just feel low-key kind of worthless and I'm considering ending things because I don't know. Because I haven't liked the girl as much as I liked her, but I don't know if I should be with someone this obsessed with my height. Like, who cries over their boyfriend being shorter than their friends' boyfriends? I don't know. I'm closer to breaking up, but she's been apologizing so much. So I think maybe I should give her a second chance. You know, having preferences is absolutely fine, but she basically said that you're not measuring up to her ideal and probably never will. 3 months into a relationship and you're already second guessing this relationship over something that you can't change. And I always think about the future in situations like this, and it might be just an insecurity of mine, of course, me problem maybe, but thinking about like every time you have a photo, a group photo, a wedding, you know, every time you're around taller guys again, is she going to be thinking this? And that's what will be in my brain. Again, that might be a me problem, but I think I would really struggle with that. And it's clear, I think she is apologetic for hurting your feelings, which I'm glad that she is apologetic for, because it would hurt, right? But part of me is just like 3 months in, do you really want to? But the first commenter says from Maleficent Web, in quotes, like who cries over their boyfriend being shorter and their friends' boyfriends? Then says, mean and shallow people do. Another commenter says, my boyfriend is also 5'8" and we're the same height. I've always dated taller men and my friends also have tall boyfriends. I don't give his height a second thought ever. That's how it should be. You're valid for leaving. Fragrance Reply says, and even if you're not fully secure, there are ways to handle it that are actually nicer. When my husband and I started dating, I was incredibly self-conscious about my height. I'm 178 centimeters, so about 5'11" I think. I'm Norwegian, so not super tall, but still a good 10 centimeters above national average. My husband is barely a few centimeters taller than me, and it certainly made me uncomfortable to hang out with other couples where the girl was significantly shorter than me, and the guy was significantly taller than me and my husband. So, you know what I did? I sucked it up because I'd already made my decision. What am I gonna do? Ask him to grow a bit more? Like, come on. And one more comment from just another main girl who says, at 19, your girlfriend is caught halfway between craving the shallow physical ideals and status symbols that she sought out in her high school relationships, and learning how to observe and appreciate someone's inner qualities, shared interests, a sense of humor, good moral character, that she will prioritize more in her adult romantic partnerships. She is still a work in progress, and early adulthood is often a time of great change for everyone. She would never have agreed to date you exclusively if she was still seriously stuck in high school mode. So she wasn't lying when she told you that she's never dated anyone she's liked this much before, but she hasn't completely cleared that superficial way of thinking out of her system yet, and seeing her good friends or with taller guys made her feel insecure, like somehow they were judging her negatively for dating someone shorter. If she's apologized sincerely, I think you should consider giving her a second chance, but first tell her how badly it hurt your feelings, because you really like her too, and you thought she was more mature than that. I hope you'll be able to talk this out and get back to a good place with her. Good luck. And someone did ask OP, how tall is the girlfriend? And OP said she's 5'5" or 5'6", so kinda average. OP did come back in with an update though around 3 days later and says, I tried posting an update twice but it got removed and I can't be asked to figure out why, so I'm posting it here. I don't know if anyone really cares, but thanks for all the advice. I read literally every comment. I know most of the comments said to break up, but some of the others gave a perspective that really resonated with me. I finally replied to my girlfriend's text and we had a face-to-face meeting at my place. She was crying and even more apologetic in person than she was over text. She told me that the day we went out for dinner with her friends was a shitty day and she blamed her hormones for saying something hurtful to me, which I don't know how female biology works, but it seemed like a flimsy excuse. She also mentioned feeling under pressure about her friends being judgy that I'm shorter than her usual type, and all that resulted in her snapping. I asked her if she was sure she wanted to continue this relationship, and she said yes. According to her, she has no issue with my height and wanted me to give her a second chance. I know a lot of you will be pissed, but I agreed. I didn't want to break up when we get along so perfectly in every other way, so yeah, I forgave her and we're still together. She promised to never bring up my height, and I said if she repeats her antics from last week again, then I'll break up with her too, which she agreed. Boring update, but yeah, thanks. It's going to be interesting to know how this one goes in the future if we ever do hear from it, because, you know, some of the things in that update was jumping out that she's feeling pressure from her friends about it, etc., not a usual type, but also that she said she has no issue with OP's height, which she does. That's how we're in this situation in the first place. And then the last line saying she promised to never bring up my height and he's going to break up with her if she does. I mean, the issues there is not going to disappear overnight. You're never going to talk about it and everything just keeps plodding along and is tickety-boo. But I guess we can only just see how this goes. But what do you guys make of this situation? Imagine a partner said that to you. How would you feel? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, before we get into this next story, there is a warning on it of domestic abuse and physical assault as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description. Along the timeline below, thank you. It's from a ThrowRA account that says, my husband's 28 male car got destroyed and now he's taking his frustrations out on me, 24 female. We've been dating for 4 years, married for 11 months. Basically, a truck driver hit my husband's car and entirely destroyed it. It was a hit and run, so no one knows who the driver of the truck was, which is ironic because almost all of our neighbors saw it happening, but nobody bothered to write down the license plate number. The accident happened at around 7 a.m. Our whole neighborhood started talking about it, and 3 hours later, one of them finally decided to let us know what happened. Needless to say, it was a shitty way to start the day. My husband loves his cars, especially this one. We're currently trying to figure out things with our insurance, but it's not looking good. My husband is super frustrated and angry, understandably so. Unfortunately, he's taken all of his frustration and anger out on me. He's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I try to comfort him and gently touch his arm, but he slapped my hand away. I've never seen him like that, and honestly, it's scaring me. I'm one of those people that immediately get emotional when someone raises their voice at them. Is there anything that I can do? How can I calm him down? Commenter says, leave and let him work out his tantrum on his own. Come back only when he agrees to treat you with respect. He hit you. He pushed you. That is physical abuse. It is not okay. You do not have to stay and be his emotional punching bag until he feels like stopping. In a few days when he's calmed down, tell him in no uncertain terms that you will not tolerate that kind of treatment, and if it happens again, even once, you are gone. Personally, I wouldn't agree to return until he agrees to go to therapy. Diamond says, and quotes, he's yelling at me non-stop and forcefully pushes me out of the way when I'm standing in his way. I try to comfort him and gently touch his arm, but he slapped my hand away. And then says, it's time to pack a bag and go visit someone for a bit. If he is angry, you are not his emotional or physical punching bag. This is not normal, and you should not have to deal, endure, or cope with it. It's a car. It can be replaced. He's placing the value of his car over you. That is not okay. Big red flag. Verity says, leave him be for now. When things are calmed down, you bring up his unacceptable behavior to him. Insist and don't back down. This is therapy-worthy behavior. He needs to learn to deal with his emotions like an adult because right now, you're living with a teenager lashing out. Let me guess, he's a stoic guy who carries his emotions on the inside and never discusses or allows himself to express emotions, making sure they are sealed away. And when he finally gets emotional, the floodgates open and all hell is loose. Typical manly behavior. I'm saying this as a man in my 30s who had to learn the same, be in healthy contact with my emotions. And OP just simply replied to those comments saying, thanks for the advice. Yes, you're actually spot on. So it was about 22 days later that OP did come in with an update and says, just wanted to let you all know that my dear husband will soon be my ex-husband. Most people suggested to leave for a short while to let my husband deal with his emotions on his own and to avoid me being his punching bag. I spent a full week at my mum's house, and when I came back, he was still mad about his car. It got to the point where he was transferring all of his anger onto me. So now there were 2 angry people instead of 1. We kept getting into fights and discussions, but I decided that this marriage wasn't worth saving anymore when he pushed me out of his way. I wasn't purposely standing in his way. I was preparing a meal in the kitchen, so hard that I lost my footing and hit my head against the corner of our kitchen table. I must have lost consciousness for a small amount of time because suddenly my husband was next to me and was apologizing. I'm going to be honest, it's breaking my heart to leave this man, but I'm genuinely scared for my safety when I'm around him. There's plenty of fish in the sea, I guess. Trust me, says to the OP, did you contact the police? This assault should be reported. I hope you're okay. I'm glad you have your parents nearby for support. OP says I did not, but it might be a really good idea to contact them. Mystic says, please do OP. You really do need to file a report and document that. Hopefully you'll never need it, but if you do, you'll have it on record. Another commenter says, I'm glad you're getting out. Has he really never shown you this side of him before? OP says, now that I'm looking back on it, he has always been a person with a lot of anger inside of him. Peace was never an option, but violence was. However, that violence has never been directed at me until the incident with his car happened. To be honest, I guess I never really wanted to see and accept that side of him, so I just ignored it, because I was so in love with him. Pinkleton says, I'm so sorry. A head injury where you blacked out is no joke. Hope you got checked out by a doctor. Your husband literally could have killed you. And I really hope that OP did leave the situation, divorce him, and move on with her life. Because, you know, the first time was enough for her to be out of that situation, pushing her, slapping her hand away. And the second time he done it again when she wasn't even in his path. So he walked up to her and just pushed her to the point that she whacked her head on the table. And then he was feeling bad because he almost basically fucking killed her. Absolutely the right thing to do to remove yourself out of that situation. Walking red flag, that guy is. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story. Our next story is from IC Resident 6341 and says, am I the arsehole here for moving out without saying anything? I, 23 female, currently live with my parents. I've been dating my boyfriend, 24 male, for almost a year now. And we've known each other for many years. Recently, him and I started talking about the future and when we would like to move in together. Originally, we were talking about waiting for another year so I can finish college. However, after my mum caught wind of him and I having these conversations, she lost her mind. She told me that I shouldn't even be thinking about a future with my boyfriend at this point in my life, and that him and I needed to back off of our relationship. Then she went as far as telling me that I'm not allowed to see him more than once a week for a couple of hours, and that he will no longer be allowed over at the house anymore, and it's her house, so I'll respect that. My mom is very controlling and manipulative, and I've spent most of my life doing whatever she wanted to make my life easier. However, I'm ready to move out, and my mum would physically stop me if I tried to leave. But her and my dad are going to the same convention this weekend, and my boyfriend and I plan on moving me out while they are gone. So am I the arsehole for packing up my shit and leaving without saying anything? Look, this is not normal parenting behavior. She's not worried about you leaving the house, etc., etc. She's just trying to control you, and it's really that simple. You said it yourself, she's controlling, she's manipulative, she will physically try to stop you from leaving. Most parents might be sad or worried, but they don't threaten physical intervention. Moving out while they're away is probably going to cause some kind of drama. You know it is with the way that she is, the way that she's controlling and manipulative. But sometimes I think you just have to prioritize your own safety and your own freedom, because you're 23, an adult, making adult decisions about your own life. And the usual advice in these situations always apply, making sure you have all your important documents like your birth certificate, your passport, etc. And just being prepared for the aftermath of what they're going to do. You know them better than anyone. You know how they might react. And remember that your mum created this issue, not you. But Old and Slow says, dad advice here. No, you're not the arsehole. When my parents started to tell me how I needed to live my life, I packed my shit and left too. And here is the flip side to this. I was fully independent from my parents and supported myself from day one. Be prepared to do the same. School funds being cut off, the possibility of having to drop out of school to work full-time to now support yourself. No more health insurance either. Like I tell my own kids, you're old enough to make your own decisions, and you're old enough to live with the consequences. Be prepared. Opie says, I'm already working full-time. I pay for my own car and have my own health insurance. I don't have to pay anything for my college due to the GI Bill. And I have my own health insurance. Old and Slow replies to that and says, then there you go. Sounds like you have your shit together and just need to deal with the fallout of moving out. Good luck. Sounds like your mum is going to freak out. Opie says she definitely will. I expect her to manipulate the rest of my family, but it's on them if they believe her because they know what she is like. Hang in there. And don't take shit off others. Opie comes in with an update 5 days later and says, so my boyfriend and I have officially decided to go through with getting me out of my parents' house. I've had my job saving boxes for me for the week, and I've been storing them at his house. My parents leave town tomorrow morning, and tomorrow night after work and my sister goes to bed, and my boyfriend and I will start packing everything up. None of my family has any clue that my boyfriend and I signed and paid for the lease on a really nice apartment about 20 minutes away from my parents. Both mine and my boyfriend's therapist are both telling us it's in my best interest to leave if I want to be able to grow as a person. My friend says that my mum is controlling, and I'm 23 and I need to get on with my life. Truthfully, while I agree with all of this, I feel guilty. I don't plan on cutting off contact, and everything is signed and paid for, so there's no going back now. Am I irrational for feeling guilty about all of this, or am I a jerk for leaving without saying anything? Commenter says to OP, you're doing the right thing, but what if your sister wakes up and hears you? Will she call your parents? You should do this anyway. They have no legal hold on you, but think through how you'll handle it if it happens. If this didn't come up already, are you on their phone plan? Do they pay for your school? Are there other expenses such as health insurance they might cut off? If you have bank accounts that they have access to, likely from before you were an adult age, they may still be able to access them if you didn't change accounts. They might take the money, so plan and get your money transferred to a separate account. Car payments or car title in their name. Car insurance. Opie says my sister is a very heavy sleeper. I'm going to pack boxes in my room and my boyfriend is going to take them to our apartment in his truck while I stay behind. I'm on their phone plan, but my boyfriend and I have decided that if they take me off, he'll add me to his plan. My boyfriend and I are on a car insurance policy together, and I have my own vehicle and my own health insurance. I've already filled out the paperwork for my bank account to be changed. I don't have to pay for college because my dad is a vet, so it's all paid for by the VA. About a week later, Opie comes in with another update and says, my boyfriend and I have officially moved in together. My mom is extremely angry. She called me and yelled at me for 30 minutes and told me that I was alone and that I had no one to turn to. She told me that everything is always about me and that she would be calling my therapist because clearly I must have lied if my therapist was telling me to leave. Her and my dad are repossessing my truck, even though I'm paying for it because it's in my dad's name. They say me having it is a liability for them. My mum called me yesterday telling me that she was worried that I may be living with a sociopath. She said she spoke to my therapist and she told her that she didn't tell me to leave. My mum then called me and asked me if her and my dad could come and pick me up and talk to me. They claim that my boyfriend has manipulated me into cutting off my family when he has actually done the exact opposite. Through this process, my boyfriend has actually been encouraging me to reach out and even said my family was welcome to come over. He even said that if they wanted him to leave the house when they come see me, then he will do so because he doesn't want to keep me from my parents. My mom has reached out to other family members and spoke to them. I'm not aware of what she has said to them, but they sent me a message telling me that they didn't wish to get involved. My mom has made not one, but 2 Facebook posts telling everyone how I abandoned my sister, 27 female, and left her to die. She has gone as far as telling everyone my boyfriend is abusing me, which is a lie. She even said in her most recent post that she was going no contact and asked everyone else to do the same because if they didn't, they would be supporting an abuser. For your information, this is not me whining and crying about my choices. I'm fully aware that these are the consequences of my actions and my choices, and I made my bed and have to lie in it. I'm not asking for pity. Reddit users asked for an update, so I'm providing one. Commenter says to OP, "You're an adult, so I don't believe your therapist talked to your mother. She's lying, and if your therapist did talk to your mother, then that is an ethics violation, and you could get her in serious trouble because they are supposed to have a doctor/patient confidentiality. Your mum is pulling lies out of her ass to try and continue controlling you. Right now, the best thing for you to do is sit your mother down and tell her that you're a grown woman and you'll be making your own choices and she needs to get on board with it or she can get out of your life and go either low contact or no contact until she can learn to respect your wishes. Good luck, OP." OP replies saying she's already chosen to go no contact with me because I chose to stay with my boyfriend. And Mandy replies saying, "Then that is on her. And sounds like your life will be much better in the long run." Ugh, it sounds like you're much better off being no contact with her at this point, you know. She's telling lies, saying that you're in an abusive relationship, etc., posting on social media and telling everyone else to block you. I think I'd be calling out that bullshit. I wouldn't be sitting back and just letting her spout this stuff off. Absolute toxic behavior. But what do you guys make of this situation? I'm always surprised by, well, I shouldn't be surprised, but the amount of people who relate to that kind of story about having parents like that is absolutely wild. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just